This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. Bumper to Bumper, helping you and your car feel better. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio, where we are saving cars and saving lives. I am Dave Riccio, and right next to me is Matt Allen. And we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon, right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR. At Bumper to Bumper, not only are we saving cars, but we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text your questions to 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we'll have another email of the week, open phones, overlooked auto repair, and I don't know what the heck Cooper was talking about. Is your car leaking gravy? You know, gravy going down the road. What the heck is he talking about?
I think there's some people out there that know what the gravy is, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But, you know, Dave, we talked about the things, overlooked auto repairs. And these are normal maintenance items, but they're not the things that you're going to find the shop advertising with all the coupons. Like, get this $10 off and flush this and rotate that and whatever. These are typically, at least the one that I'm talking about first, is a repair that your average shop doesn't do because it's not on the easy list.
Not on the easy list. Well, yeah. That's the easy, high margin type repairs.
Right. Well, you're starting to leak gravy already. But the one thing that people is an overlooked auto repair, and the reason I bring this up is because we're talking about valve adjustments, adjusting the valves on the engine. Well, this doesn't apply to every car. It's going to be mostly your import cars, or maybe their American cousin that's shared between, say, maybe a Chevy or Pontiac Vibe and a Toyota Matrix or something like that. But we've come out with hydraulic tappets over years and years, and engine manufacturers change things. But we're starting to see cars that have come in and need a repair because they have a check engine light or they have a symptom related to a valve adjustment when you normally didn't have that. So, you know, in the 80s and 90s, for example, Hondas, they wanted the valves adjusted every 15,000 miles. A little bit excessive, but they needed it. It wasn't so expensive to do it then.
So my Honda Element, when does that need a valve adjustment?
Well, they say they need it when they're tight.
When they're loose.
Right,
or making noise.
When they're making noise. I messed it up. The manual says adjust the valves when they're noisy. Well, sometimes when they're noisy, it's too late, or that's the beginning of a problem. But what we're starting to see in my shop is cars that have valves that are too tight.
How the heck can a valve get too tight?
No,
it's got to get looser with time and be worn out.
No, they get too tight. The seat wears, the whole mechanics of the system. They're due to adjust. It's a mechanical system with metal and it's lubricated and they wear. It's just a fact of life. They do wear. So they do it at times, need some adjustment. But again, they get tight. And the tight is not fall under the category of it needs a valve adjustment because it's noisy. They're not going to make noise when they're tight. So we're starting to see cars come in as early as 15 and 20,000 miles sometimes with slight drivability problem, maybe a check engine light for a lean fuel condition or a loss of power. This is especially common in the Honda V6 engine, maybe in the Pilot or the Odyssey minivan. You get a code for a lean fuel condition. Everybody's looking for vacuum leaks and such, and it's really just a valve adjustment. And they can be expensive, though, but that's part of regular maintenance, and that's why I say it's overlooked.
Why would you call that an overlooked repair?
Well, it's expensive to do, so people don't like to mention it to their customers because they don't want them to say no. They'd rather do something else that's easier.
Stay below their threshold of, I think I'm going to go get a second opinion type threshold?
Could be, yeah. And there's a fair amount of risk. If you've got the wrong guy doing this job, you can buy an engine. so that's part of it. And but how do you know your car needs a valve adjustment?
You don't.
You don't even know if your car has adjustable valves. One of the items that we look at in the shop is just go look at the underhood decal. If there's a specification for a valve adjustment, that means they're adjustable. Now, that doesn't mean they need to be done, but have a look in your owner's manual and see if that's in there. A lot of times it's tied in with doing a timing belt on a car. So that's one of them. Dave, what do you see for what would maybe your second or third thing of overlooked repairs that people don't think about?
I would say the transfer case. That is probably the biggest one we see. You go in and people check your fluids. And one thing they don't do is check the oil in your transfer case. And that's a problem because a transfer case, that's part of the four-wheel drive system. And you say, I got a four-wheel drive. I don't use it.
I'm not driving a truck. I don't have a four-wheel drive.
It doesn't need to be serviced because I never even put the thing in four-wheel drive. That thing is always working. There's always power flowing through it. So it's got oil in it. It needs to be checked. And it needs to be checked because it only holds 2 quarts to start with. These things will go low and they'll leak. And no one's bothering to check them because if they do leak, it's not a big mess. It only held 2 quarts. So they overlook that. That's something should be serviced maybe every 50,000 miles would be pretty, reasonable expectation.
Now, being that you own the transmission shop and you're the transmission expert, right, Dave?
I am.
And you drive a Honda Element, I'm sorry to report. But you have an all-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive essentially are the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of differences. But you may have a transfer case, and you don't even know it.
I have a transfer case, definitely, and that needs to be serviced. And that's,
you were talking about the differential.
Well,
okay, first, but
it's an angle.
Yeah.
There's all kinds
Right.
of names for it, but it's on the side of the transmission. There's a little box that has they call it an angle gear or side gear, and it shoots power through a drive shaft to the rear differential. So even though it's a front-wheel drive car, it still has a rear differential for that all-wheel drive. And that all-wheel drive, I believe in my manual it says it needs to be serviced at 15,000 miles.
yeah, the rear differential on the Honda Odyssey or any four-wheel drive Honda, the classic symptom is people go to take a turn, just a lazy, loose right turn, or maybe even a tight turn in the parking lot, and what do you get? That skip. It's binding.
What's funny about it is that I actually had it serviced at the dealership for the first 25,000 miles. Just, you know what? I need a little more perspective on my business. So I take it up there, and I said, hey, it looks like in my manual I need to service that rear differential. Guy says, oh, you don't need it. I was like, but it says I do. I don't need it. And he was trying to save me money, and he was because I'm friendly with the guy down there. But he said no. And I'm thinking, there's probably a reason they want you to service it. So anyway, I brought it back to my shop, and I serviced the differential anyway because I didn't want to, argue with the guy.
Well, that's surprising to me that someone would do that. Especially, in the manual there are some things that are very subjective. Where
some things you don't need to do.
You don't need to do them, or you can. It doesn't need to be done at X mileage because we know we're going to do a related repair at another 7,000 or 8,000 or 10,000, so we'll do it together.
The other one that gets me, and this is a common repair, and it's almost become a commodity repair, or people try to make it a commodity repair by couponizing it.
The couponizer, right?
Couponizing. And that's the timing belt. And you're going to see a coupon from, I'm going to give you an example from one of the big dealerships in town. They'll run a coupon for $395 timing belt. So immediately that's going to set your expectation wrong. You go, it's just a simple, not a big deal. But a timing belt is a big deal.
So it's not overlooked. It's probably over-advertised.
Over-advertised.
Everybody wants to do them, but they don't necessarily do them right, or they're a little bit, I can't even say a little bit, they're wishy-washy on the way that it's presented to you.
Well, and you can buy an engine if you do a timing belt wrong. I don't know if you've ever heard of that happening.
We had a problem on a Daewoo one time. It was cheaper just to buy the car.
So a timing belt is not a commodity repair. You definitely want an A-Tech doing a timing belt. You don't want a B or a C-Tech, and you don't know what that means. But we all may have gone to technical school, some at the top of the class, some at the bottom of the class, but we still have a little circle with our name on it. We work at the auto shop, and we're considered technicians, but we're not all the same. So that, it's not a commodity repair. And then also for $399, you're getting what I would consider, depending on the mileage of the vehicle. Let's just say, we've been talking a lot about Hondas today. 100,000 miles on your Honda. You've never done the timing belt. Well, just doing the timing belt, we're missing half of what else we should be doing. Water pump, timing belt tensioners, maybe some
the idlers, the other items, and they're trying to advertise it cheap and maybe do it cheap so that you don't say no, but then the second part of that is the second phone call.
That's one of the two-step repairs because they got you in on a $399 coupon. Your car is now taken apart, and they go, Mr. Smith, we're kind of looking at the water pump. It's a little questionable. We should think about replacing it. You know what? it's probably not a bad idea the way this timing belt is wearing to go ahead and do that tensioner and that idler and yada, yada, yada. Well, you would have gone to your favorite bumper-to-bumper shop had you known, because they told you it was $900 or $1,200 or whatever the right price was from the get-go, and now...
Yeah, well, we want to tell you up front. I'd rather have you go away thinking it's going to be more money than have to call you back and do that two-step selling process. But the other thing, Dave, real quick, is we say it's overlooked, but I think it's sometimes overperformed because we have severe service in Arizona. And if you look at severe service, it talks about constantly over 105,000 or 120 degrees and stuff like that. I think these 105,000 timing belts that people are recommending at 60 is overdoing it. So it's also overlooked but overperformed at times too.
Well, we'll tell you more about it when we come back at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. You listen to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Have you been in a car accident? Hi, John Fox here from New Image Paint and Body with a couple quick tips. First, you decide where to repair your car, not your insurance company. And second, go where your friends, neighbors, and the pros have gone since 1988. New Image Paint and Body. Recognized as iCar Gold Class, the industry's highest recognition and certification, New Image Paint and Body uses iCar Platinum Certified technicians to return your car to showroom new condition with original equipment manufacturer parts and the industry's best paints in Glazerite and BASF. A+ rated by the BBB and Bumper to Bumper radio approved. We're dedicated to serving you, not your insurance company. So if you've been in an accident, take all the anxiety out of your repair. Make your first call the right call to New Image Paint and Body. With one call, we handle it all. Towing, rental car, and all the arrangements with your insurance company. For an appointment or for more real customer reviews, check us out online at newimagepaintandbody.com or call 480-921-DENT.
Golf Fest returns to Longbow Golf Club on Friday, Saturday, February 14th and 15th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Test the latest and greatest on the driving range. Adults, you pay $10. Kids 10 and under, it's free. Now dig this. Just for showing up, you get a free round of golf at Longbow Golf Club. Cart fee and tee time restrictions apply. Check out Craig Hocknell and his Golf Trick Shot Show, 1 o'clock each day. Free lessons from PGA pros and a $50,000 putting challenge. Golf Fest Phoenix is sponsored in part by Arizona Golf Resort, Arizona Golfer Magazine, Breast Cancer Society, El Cid Resort, Kaleo Marketing, Wilson Golf, Cousin Subs, Men's Vitality Center. Visit golffestshows.com for more details.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio, where we are saving cars and saving lives. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you have a better overall car experience. To get a hold of us, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And the texts are busy today. You can text us at 411-923, and I have about 4 texts that are right on topic.
Did you take a CPR class or go to med school last week? I don't know about. We're saving lives now?
I did. I'm the automotive healer.
Saving the life of your car.
So
I can go along with that.
I don't know which one of these texts I want to take first, because I think I could talk about all of them. The first one is so on topic, I think we got to talk about that. I have if I keep the Honda Odyssey, I have to replace the timing belt. Is it worth it?
Without hesitation, absolutely yes. That Honda Odyssey, I don't know what year that is, so there's a big range, but a lot of times you can't find one of those to buy if you wanted one.
Hot commodities.
They are.
If you got one and it's working and running great, keep it, live with, they've got great resale value. My brother bought an 04 with 110,000 miles on it, and I said it's barely broken in.
Ooh, that hurt a little bit, Dave. I remember working on your brother's Odyssey. We had some problems. But, the Odyssey, that's probably got a V6 engine in it. The timing belt replacement, that's a perfect example of doing the timing belt too early, over-servicing it. I bet the manual says 105,000 miles, and then it's going to say severe service if you're constantly driven over 110 degrees and constantly this and constantly that.
That's in the fine print.
And not too much, but we are in that condition, but not constantly, 4 months out of the year. So someone might take that 105,000-mile timing belt and say, oh, my gosh, and play the Arizona card and say do it at 60. I'm of the opinion that is way too early. I've never seen a broken timing belt on a Honda, probably because Honda owners take care of them. I would not do that timing belt before 90,000 miles on that car, though.
Well, when they're selling it to you at 60, all you do need is a timing belt.
Correct.
You don't need a water pump, and you don't necessarily need idlers and tensioners and all that stuff.
With an asterisk next to need at 60.
Need at 60, because you don't really need it at 60. So my thing is, okay, you're going to do it at 100, 110,000 miles. At that time, go ahead and do the water pump. Go ahead and look at replacing radiator hoses and a thermostat. And, I'm a preemptive guy on a radiator because of the price of radiators and the plastic construction of the tanks. The thing that's going to wreck your car is overheating it. That's one of the common things. Timing belt cracks, breaks and crashes the valves, or a thing overheats on the freeway. By the time you get pulled over, you smoke the motor.
Now, an Odyssey is not one I'm doing a radiator on just because we're doing a timing belt. Now,
Right.
Maybe a Toyota pickup or something where we take the radiator out for our convenience to make the job easier, you get the benefit of that. So on a Honda Odyssey, you can't go wrong with that car. I don't believe so. Fix the timing belt. Find a good shop that takes care of that for you, and you'll be trouble free.
Well, we mentioned Odyssey. I think we got 3 texts on Odysseys. This next one says, I have a 2004 Honda Odyssey. I've had a transmission rebuilt twice in less than a year. And now the screen refreshed while I was reading that. So,
but it says, should I keep the car or should I ditch it? Basically.
There's no reason, it says for the torque converter, and in the Odysseys they had, they didn't necessarily, Honda just joined the rest of the world as far as how long their transmissions lasted. Hondas used to, traditionally they were compact cars, they were small, and they had 4-cylinder engines in them. And they started going to V6s 98, 99, and they were doubling the horsepower of the engines. They were also increasing the size of the vehicle. So last I checked, I think a Honda Accord end-to-end is as big as a Crown Victoria. That's not a compact car anymore, so they've left that whole compact mold.
But they had a compact transmission in it.
But I got a compact transmission, and they never really upgraded. So I've got a Honda with a 1.6 liter. It's got the same size pump as one in an Odyssey, and it just doesn't make any sense. So there is a transmission kind of underbuilt from the factory, but they're still going 100, 110,000 miles.
But they've fixed that, though. So don't go to Google and think, I got to get rid of my car because it has this transmission. Dave, I know you do repairs on those Odysseys all the time, and you can be proactive, and you don't have to overhaul the whole transmission. There's very specific things that you can do to make that transmission last.
Definitely. It can definitely be redone. I mean, they've been re-engineered. That transmission's been out long enough that we've come up with a lot of the fixes. But some of these Honda Odysseys, the guys are rebuilding them, don't do them right. That car's like a boomerang. I mean, you throw it from your shop, and it just comes back the next day. So there's no reason it can't be fixed and can't stay out. It's 35% of our business is Honda transmissions. There's just so many Hondas on the road. It's something we do on a regular. You're rolling your eyes at me.
Is that one of the statistics?
No, I didn't make that up. I literally looked at it. I looked at all the manufacturers, and I got to go back 5 years to see what new car sales were to see if it's really like a kind of a 1-to-1, or is it like every 4 sold we're working on so much percentage. But no, I didn't just make that up. It's a true deal.
What do you think? Phone call?
Let's go for a phone call. Let's go with, looks like Will in Glendale on a 2000 Astro. Go ahead, Will. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great.
This thing, we've had it since brand new. It's got 90,000 miles on it. I keep getting a check engine light for the code's showing a fast idle. I've cleaned out the throttle body. I've put out all the sensors, replaced the throttle body gaskets, everything. It keeps showing a high idle. I can't figure it out.
Will, on that car, do you know if that one I don't remember off the top of my head. Do you know if that has a mass airflow sensor?
It does.
It does have a mass air. Okay, that changes. Dave and I were thinking, or I was thinking anyway, I can read his mind sometimes. So I was thinking a vacuum leak, because if a car without a mass airflow sensor uses a manifold or a MAP sensor, manifold air pressure sensor, and a vacuum leak will cause that car to idle high.
I've checked all those. There is no vacuum leak whatsoever.
What is it idling at? Is it idling at 800 RPM? Is it idling at 1,200 RPM?
Yeah, it's idling at about 900. And, but then, the adjustment screw on the front of the valve body, you're not supposed to touch it. But I've even lowered that down a little bit, and I've taken it to the shop, and they can't find anything wrong with it the way it's running. It's got 90,000 miles on it. Like I said, we've had it since brand new, and it's just, I'm beating my head against the wall on it.
Right. Well,
what's that code number, by the way, real quick?
God, I don't have it.
Okay.
I don't have it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, you can shoot
But
it.
You could follow up with us with an email maybe, but you know, we can go back and forth by email just like on the radio here. That's one of those things where that's going to need to get to a shop. It sounds like you've done the easy stuff. There's nothing real obvious. There's no patient with a knife sticking out of the chest or anything like that. We need to get in there and find what's going on. I see you're in Glendale. Dave's Car Care, Dave Denman at 51st Avenue and Peoria. He's been there forever, 35 years. That might be a good place to start if you don't have a shop. I know Dave's got all the right diagnostic equipment and tools to work on your car or most anything else as well.
Yes, so we got open lines at 602-277-5827. Again, 602-277-KTAR. You can also get a hold of us at 411-923. You're listening to Bumper, where we're saving cars and saving lives. I'm Dave Riccio. He's Matt Allen. Be back in a bit.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Yes, we realize this is a long name to remember, but most of our customers know us simply as ADS. ADS is a family-owned and operated, state-of-the-art, full-service automotive repair facility with an expert staff that has helped us earn the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation for the second straight year in a row. We are honored, humbled, and dedicated to providing the same level of service to you and your family. We will always strive to get it done right the first time so that you'll leave with a smile on your face after every repair or service. ADS is a bumper-to-bumper radio approved shop with a long name but a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard, ADS proudly serves Ahwatukee, Chandler, Tempe, Gilbert, and Southeast Phoenix. Stop by or check us out at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com today.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at TriCityTransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Golf fans, have you purchased your Southwest Section PGA Golf Pass yet? It's the best golf deal in the Valley, giving you up to 50% off rates at more than 60 courses. Plus, you get a free round of golf with purchase. That's right, a free round of golf. Along with great rates, the Golf Pass also has discounts on food and beverages, merchandise, and even golf lessons. It's easy to get. Go to the TeaTimeStore.com or visit any participating golf facility. Don't delay. Get your Southwest Section Golf Pass and free round of golf today at the TeaTimeStore.com.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
After an auto accident, make your first call the right call to New Image Paint and Body. Hi, John Fox here. You should choose where to repair your car, not your insurance company. With one call, we can handle it all. Towing, rental car, and all the arrangements with your insurance company. BBB A+ rated, bumper-to-bumper radio approved, and iCar Gold Class certified. We use OEM parts and iCar Platinum certified technicians to return your car to new. Check us out at newimagepaintandbody.com or call 480-921-DENT.
This is Bumper to Bumper, News Talk 92.3, KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm hoping you're having a nice time out driving your perfectly running car around, enjoying this beautiful February day where we're enjoying sun and no snow. I'm Matt Allen, he's Dave Riccio, and we're Bumper to Bumper. We're your KTAR car guys helping you every Saturday at 11.
Today must be Honda Day because we've got Kelly in Gilbert with an 04 Honda Odyssey. Go ahead, Kelly. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'm actually the one who sent you the text earlier about the transmission being rebuilt twice and asking about the timing belt. And you say these cars run forever, but I'm already at 176,000 miles. I haven't replaced the timing belt yet because I'm not sure if I want to invest any more money into the car. Do I want to wait until I have a timing belt problem, or you say they run forever? How long is forever?
If I had rocks in my head, you'd hear me shaking it. You don't want to have a timing belt break on that car.
No, you don't.
It's big problems, and that's funny because I said we never see them break on Hondas because people take care of them. But you're in the threshold area now where you could find yourself in trouble.
Living
maybe.
Dangerous, for sure. So if you're gonna keep it, even if you're gonna keep it for another year, 6 months, replace that timing belt.
Well, and the other thing, Dave, maybe she's on, Kelly, you're kind of on the fence, right? You're not sure. You've had some work. What I would do is go to find a shop, go to bumpertobumperradio.com if you don't have a shop, and go there and tell them, I want you to tell me every single possible thing that is wrong with this car. In my shop, we call it a comprehensive vehicle inspection. We're going to nitpick it from toe to toe, bumper to bumper, and we're going to know everything about that car. Now, we can't predict if the transmission's going to have a problem or the alternator's going to, burn out like a light bulb or something like that. But at least you know the big picture. Dave, you don't want somebody to go do a $1,200 complete timing belt job on the car and not tell you that you need another $1,000 worth of mounts and the brakes are worn out and the radiator's leaking. Don't let someone dribble you a little bit of information at a time.
Yeah,
well, I've had all the mounts replaced. I actually have had a lot of work done to it already over the years because I've obviously had it for a very long time, and I've maintained it very well. But since the transmission has gone out twice, that was a pretty big investment. And now I'm just like, well, do I want to keep throwing money into it, or should I get out of it?
Well, and Dave, on your website, you have a repair or replace calculator, Kelly. You can look at that. That's on Tri-City Transmission.
It's right on the homepage, tricitytransmission.com.
And then the other thing is you got to 170,000 miles because you take care of your car. You said it. You've done that maintenance over the time. So good for you. But really, you should look at that timing belt and get an overall report card on the whole car.
And then as far as the transmission goes, if I was reading the text right, you had it done once because it failed, and you had it done at 160,000 miles, and then that one failed but was still under warranty, so they redid it. And just because you got a transmission done, it doesn't mean it won't. I mean, there is a certain failure percentage that happens within the first few thousand miles or a year or so. So it doesn't mean that it's a bad car and it's never going to have a good transmission, any of that. I mean, we do so many of them, and they're able to go out and stay out. It just needs to be done right. But on occasion, we'll have a part or component fail that's brand new in that transmission. So that's not completely abnormal. So we're going to go with Robert in Phoenix on an 88 Cadillac Coupe. Go ahead, Robert. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
I think Robert dipped out right when we pushed the button, so sorry about that, Robert. What about John in Queen Creek? John has a Mercedes C230. John, how can we help you today?
Hi, guys. Question. I checked the coolant level in the car, and I noticed I'm getting chocolate looks like maybe some oil's getting into my coolant.
Okay. And were you just doing a normal checking the oil on the car, or were you? I was surprised that car actually still has a dipstick in it.
Well, I wasn't I was just checking the fluid level for the coolant, and I had the oil changed about 3 weeks ago. But I just noticed that the coolant is discolored, like chocolate flavored, and I'm wondering if oil's leaking into my coolant.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That car's, I'm sure, has an oil cooler, and the oil cooler uses the engine coolant to cool the engine oil. So the oil's passing through a oil cooler with the coolant, and they could leak. You could get a pinhole in that cooler. So yeah, that needs to be looked at, because if the coolant then gets into if the water gets into the oil, now you're in trouble.
Yeah,
a little bit of oil in the cooling system is not that big of a deal, but that petroleum is going to start attacking the hoses and causing some problems.
That's something you could have a test on. I mean, we would know if we're looking at it. Smell, test it. I taste it from time to time, and you can taste these things. But a fluid test is something that can be done just to see if there's is there water in the oil? Is there oil in the coolant?
Right. Well, it's probably pretty clear that there's coolant or oil in the coolant. We're starting to get this mixed up here, but there's oil in the coolant. But we probably ought to do, when you have that fixed, have the shop, if they can, pull a sample of the oil and send that out and have that tested. We do that at my shop, Virginia Auto Service, fairly often. We want to know what's going on there, if we have something else that might be happening, or we just need a little autopsy information.
Well, we've also got a text here. The gentleman, or I'm assuming it's a gentleman, maybe it's not, they have a Mustang and they can't get the car out of park to put it in reverse or drive or whatever it may be. For all you guys listening, this happens. It's kind of a regular repair at our shop. But
not necessarily the Mustangs, Dave. Everything. Any car that's an automatic transmission.
Honda, Chevrolet, Toyota. Cars have anywhere from about the 2000 range, even some earlier than that. They have a park brake interlock. If your foot is not on the brake, the car will not come out of park. Well, there's a couple things that like to fail on that. One is the brake switch, which is down on the pedal. And you can tell that's not working. Go push on the brakes and go look at the brake lights. If they're not turning on, that's a pretty easy diagnosis in the driveway. That's probably the most common. But also the solenoid can go bad. That's actually on the shifter, and that's what the brake switch operates, and comes out of park. So there is generally an override right there on the shifter. You might see a little cap or plug. You can pull that up and then stick a key in there, and that frees it up.
Yeah, and you know where that shift lock thing came from, Dave? You're a little bit younger. In the 80s, the Audi 5000. That was one of the first cases of the acceleration. Boy, in the 80s, if you wanted a nice car cheap, you could pick up an Audi 5000 for a dime. I mean, they were nothing, because people were going in and stomping on the gas and just neutral dropping that baby, thinking they had their foot on the brake. So that's how that whole thing was born, of making sure you've got to have your foot on the brake to shift it into park.
I got an embarrassing story about that. We had this Dodge Caravan. We rebuilt the transmission on it. A year later, they came back complaining that the park brake interlock was not working. I mean, you could start the car, not foot on the brake, and pull it right into gear, which is totally unsafe. And so Ken was working on it. He can't find any diagrams that explain how this works. Well, he throws it into YouTube, and there was a video from the news on YouTube where Chrysler took that feature out because they saved $30 a vehicle times 20,000 vehicles or whatever it was. And it was people talking about someone got ran over, someone died, because the car's running and the kid reaches over, hits the shifter, and poop, bad news. So it took us a while to figure that one out.
Hey, it looks like Robert came back, Dave. Robert, we are going to get you in right now. Robert, on your 88 Cadillac, what's happening today? What can we help you with?
Okay, it's a speedometer. It's fluctuating. I've been trying to figure out if it's electrical or mechanical on it. I get up to, it don't come up to 40 miles an hour. When it hits 40, it'll go up.
Dave, I don't know. Do you know, Robert, if that has a speedometer cable from the transmission up through the firewall into the dash?
I don't think it does. I changed the speed sensor on it, but that didn't help anything.
Okay, well that tells us we have an electrical setup, which is pretty, in the 80s. That's why we're shaking it, because we're not really sure. It's kind of in the in-between
That's the threshold.
But you can have a cluster problem. So maybe the speed sensor and all that stuff is working, but if you got an issue inside the speedometer, that may be causing an issue. You can take it to a speedometer shop or Virginia Auto. You guys fix speedometers. I mean,
Or Dick Speedo and Tack is a speedometer specialist. But the way that works is there's that sensor down in the transmission. It's sending that signal up to either the cluster, which is the dash unit, the gauge assembly, or it might even send it into, well, they didn't call it a body control module in 1988, but it'll send that signal into a control module, and then that sends a signal to the dash on how fast to spin that little motor that's connected to the needle, and that's how that works. So speedometer shop. And there's only a couple of those around, like Dick Speedo and Tack.
Right there in Tempe, up by my shop.
And there's one on 7th Street in Indian School. That's no big deal, as well as any of the other bumper-to-bumper shops. I'm sure can handle that. It's just not that big of a deal, really.
Real common in those 2000, 2005 Chevrolets in that range. Cluster problems were it's actually common on a lot of vehicles, like Lexuses, where the gauges don't light up.
The little fluorescent bulbs, and we can fix those. If you have a Lexus that the speedometer needles or the needles on the gauges burn out, don't buy a $2,000 dash panel. Those are just fluorescent tubes, and we can actually fix those things.
602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. Thanks for the call, Robert. We're going to go with Robert in Santan on a 2005 Dodge Neon. That's line one, Matt.
Yeah, and it's not Robert, Dave. You got your little lines mixed up a little bit. It's Tom in Santan on the Neon. Tom, how can we help you?
How you doing today, guys?
Good.
I've got a 2005 Dodge Neon, and it's time to replace the timing belt. And I've always dealt with V8 cars. I'm a little bit of a motorhead, and I've been building cars for a long time. So this will be the first time I'm actually getting into a four-cylinder. I bought all my parts, but my question is, somebody was telling me about this car having what they call a zero interference or tolerance motor, where the number one piston has to be kept top dead center in order to change the timing belt and get it right.
Well, that's kind of right. And what they're referring to is what we call an interference engine, or some slang might be a valve crasher. And what happens is everything in that engine is perfectly synchronized. So the pistons are going down at the same time the valve is open, and there's just a minute amount of clearance there. And so if that belt breaks, the valves stop moving, but the pistons continue to move, and they crash, and they bend the valves, and you need to do a valve job on the car. But that's not what the person's talking about. On any car, you've got to have everything lined up right in order to put the belt on, take the belt off. It should be okay. But not always. Subarus, you take the belt off, put the belt on the exact same spot, it doesn't run right. There's a specific process for lining up the engine, putting the belt on, maybe rotating it, putting the second belt on, so I'm going to have a second belt. But I can tell you on your Neon, I wish Tim, my service manager, was here. He knows the Neons. There's a lot of work involved in that time belt. That is a big job on that little car, and Chrysler has a kit. I would call the dealer. If you attempt this yourself, go to the dealer. There's an updated kit. There's updated engine mounts. You're going to want to do a whole package. There's a new cover. There's all kinds of things. This is a big job on that car, and you need to be careful.
You're listening to your Car Guys on KTAR. Matt and Dave, we'll be back.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated, and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
You're listening to Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio, where we are saving cars and saving lives. That's our new tagline. I don't think it's actually going to live for much longer than today, but I heard someone in the other room say it, and I'm just gonna roll with it for now. And today I'll be the automotive healer. But for those of you who don't listen to the show normally, I am Dave Riccio. I own a transmission shop in Tempe called Tri-City Transmission. He is Matt Allen. He's got Virginia Auto Service. And we work in the shop every day. But we also are connected with a website called bumpertobumperradio.com. And they are a list of many shops all over town that are great shops that we believe in, shops where if there's ever a problem, the owner knows how to embarrass. They're all independent shops that do a great job. So we are a resource if you need to get your car fixed, but there's also a whole list of great shops at bumpertobumperradio.com. And I see a text here on a BMW that's related to our comment about overlooked auto repair. What do you think, Matt?
Well, yeah, the question is, I have a BMW X3 and an X5, or both of them, or one of each, who knows what it is, but a BMW X5. That's an all-wheel drive. So if you have a BMW, even if it's not the X or the SUV, you could have a 328 with X-Drive. That means you have an all-wheel drive car. I have a BMW station wagon that's all-wheel drive. I love my wagon.
He looks good in a wagon.
But so the question is, do I need to replace the transfer case fluid in the transmission? Yes. Yes, you absolutely do. I couldn't find right now, because I don't have the right systems here at the studio, what the exact service interval on this is. But it may be a lot like the transmission in the make-believe marketing world of BMW and a lot of other manufacturers, that you never need to service it. There's a sticker right on the bottom of the transmission, and it's in the owner's manual. It says, this is a lifetime fluid, don't change it. Well, I don't know. I guess when the life of the transmission is over, that's when you change the fluid. It's too late at that point. But to get right to your question is, you should do that service on the transfer case, especially if you're doing a lot of around-town driving. And I might make that recommendation at 50,000 miles.
That's a good safe number.
The other thing is that does take a special fluid. How special it is, I don't know, but there is a specific BMW part number to it. And the other important thing, it only holds 0.7 quarts of fluid. That's not much. That transfer case gets a lot of wear. Every time you're turning a corner, it's applying and unapplying drive to the front or the rear wheels. There's a lot of action happening in there, and that fluid can get dirty pretty quick.
Well, the point here, do we ignore leaks? Well, what's leaking and from what, and how much does that component hold? So when you're at the auto shop and they say, hey, Mrs. Smith, you're going to have a little leak here on your transfer case, and we need to monitor that in the future. The next question is, how much does that component hold? How long would it take for that whole quart of oil that it holds to go out? Because when some of these things that never fail, and really transfer cases, the only time we ever rebuild a transfer case is because somebody ran it out of fluid. There was a small leak, it got ignored, and the thing barely holds any oil. So don't ignore leaks, and that's where I'm a little bit joking about the gravy train here. Some people are going to sell you what they want to sell you on their car because they're familiar with it, but they may not fix leaks on transfer cases, so they're just not going to tell you about it.
Well, and the other thing on the BMWs, the X5 and the X3, or the not necessarily on that size, but the all-wheel drive BMW, especially on the 3 Series, the smaller one, there's a gear and a motor that engage and disengage the application of that all-wheel drive system. And you talked, Dave, about fixing cars and fixing components. Well, at BMW, they can only replace that all-wheel drive control motor unit, and it's, I'm just going to make up a number, $1,000. It's $1,000 or something like that. They won't do repairs to that stuff. In my shop, we know where to buy the kit to take the plastic gears that are inside that transfer case and replace them with metal gears, and you never have the problem at a fraction of the price. So that's the other interest. You can get repairs at an independent shop that maybe you can't get at a dealer.
It makes me want to buy a BMW so I can come up to your shop. Well, we're going to go with Dennis and Gilbert. He's got an 03 Honda CRV, and hopefully he's not looking at an umpteen thousand repair. What the heck is umpteen thousand?
A lot.
Go ahead, Dennis. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
I have three quick overlooked questions for you. One is, I don't even know if I have a transfer case, but it is an all-wheel drive, number one. Number two, the transmission fluid at 97,000 has never been replaced. 50,000 of that probably occurred here in Arizona. And three, why does the air conditioner detonate? I've had to put 3 new compressors and actually whole new systems in this vehicle in 3 years. It actually detonates. It explodes.
That's a common problem. Dave, you take the transmission thing. I'll talk about the air conditioner a little bit.
Dennis, I'm not going to scold you too badly about not servicing your transmission, but I am. Service that thing. Honda owners out there listening, service that transmission regular, service it often, use Honda transmission fluid. It should be done. I do mine every 20 to 30,000 miles in my Honda Element.
Oh, boy.
So, but the nice thing about the CRV is because it's not the V6s, the transmissions tend to go a couple 100,000 miles, but it's not too late to get servicing on that thing. So, and it definitely does have a transfer case, and that's a separate feel. It's hanging right off the side of that transmission, and then a differential at the rear of the vehicle.
Is that an all-wheel drive, Dennis?
Yes, it is an all-wheel drive, and I also forgot to ask you, I'm told I have my timing belt, and it's a non-interference engine. It's timing chain, rather. How soon at 97,000 miles should I get worried about it?
Timing chain is never, unless it breaks, unless there's a failure. There's no maintenance there. If it's a timing belt on the Honda, you're going to be typically in the 90 to 105,000 mile range. And then on the air conditioner, those have been a problem in the past, and so I wonder if you're not installing the same problem. It depends on where you're getting that car fixed. Honda's been very good about coming up with updates when they have problems. And, there might be, back in the 80s, we used to do these sand-in conversions. You take off the problematic compressor and put on sand-in, which is just a Japanese brand of compressor, to fix that. If you're going with aftermarket parts, that could be part of the problem. Or there could be maybe the repairs being done completely, because 3 times is unusual.
He said that he got the whole system, but I know on those CRVs, they are problematic, and I remember those things blowing up back when I was in the tire business. And literally, when they blow up, you want to definitely replace a condenser, because you're never going to get that thing clean, and you don't want to get some cheap aftermarket condenser that just doesn't have the same amount of surface area. You want the original equipment condenser in there, because these things, they run these pressures and then just boom.
Yeah, those Hondas, they blow the case of the compressor right apart. But before that's happening, that thing's been coming apart. And what Dave was talking about, it's pumping that metal all through the engine. I mean, imagine the exhaust in your car going right back into the air filter and metal parts flying out of it and then being re-ingested in.
If you're going to do it, do it all.
Yeah, do it all. It's a complete repair.
Well, we got a couple calls that I don't know that we're going to be able to get to. If you hang tight, we'll sneak in John in Casa Grande on 07 BM. Go quickly, John.
Hi, I have 2 questions for you. I have a BMW that I took to the dealer. He told me that the fuel injection on it is not working right. There was 2 of them. And my question is that normal on a car, and is that something that BMW aware of?
Yes, on that one, we're going to have to make this quick, and you can follow us up with an email at bumpertobumperradio.com if you want, John. But that's got direct fuel injection. BMW has had some problems with those, as all the manufacturers have that had direct fuel injection. So they're aware of them. They've got the parts available to fix them right. So check Joel at Arizona Imports. Bill's Beamers, Arizona Imports. He's a BMW specialist, and you can find him as well as in a bunch of other shops at bumpertobumperradio.com. If you don't have a shop and you need a relationship, which you do, you want to find one, and you can help get that started at bumpertobumperradio.com. Dave, lots of good interaction today, a lot of good text messages. So looking forward to being here next Saturday, taking calls and helping people with their calls, saving lives, I guess, right?
Saving lives and saving cars. And you can, if you got show ideas and topics, I mean, every day we walk in here, we come up with a topic. Something happened in the shop, you can send those to us, contact at bumpertobumperradio.com. Remember never to text and drive. It's not good.
Next to your family, there's nothing more precious than your castle, right? Kaiko Roofing understands that, which is why we are crazy about quality and protecting you, your loved ones, and your biggest investment. Don't wait for an emergency at your castle. If your roof is more than 10 years old, have the trusted pros at Kaiko Roofing give you a free inspection today. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. At Kaiko, we're proud to install peace of mind by using only the finest materials with the most skilled workers, all backed by the industry's best owner's pride guarantee. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs, with over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend or family member. For a free checkup and financing options, call 602-944-4600 or go to KaikoRoofing.com for more details. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper Radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.